The Center for Spiritual Living puts a theme every month, which I didn't realize that. And I've been coming to centers for over 25 years or so. And when I was asked to speak, I needed to find out what the theme was, and it is honoring all people. And so this song is perfect for that, Alan. Thank you. So today, that's what I'll be talking about. And I want to start with just saying that I wanted to expand that to an Ernest Holmes quote I found in his book. Ernest Holmes is our founder, and many of you already know that. This is his textbook, The Science of Mind. This is, what?
The Bible.
The Bible. Okay, I didn't realize the Bible was written in 1938. This man was way before his time. He was born in 1887. I didn't realize that as we approach 2020. That seems really far. But this is Ernest Holmes, our founder of Church of Religious Science, or spiritual centers. So in my life, there was a pivotal turning point, and I think we're all having one of those right now, maybe. They come and they go. We have these pivotal turning points. For me, was around 1993. I found myself a single mother with 3 children in a cute little old house in Reading, and it was a rental. Some of you know this story, but I just love telling it, so here it is again. The people that had lived there before had this huge console TV, and you can't move those things. Remember the big console televisions? And so when I rented it, aside from the orange shag carpet, was this huge television. And I've never really been a big watcher of television. I'm still not. I still don't have a television, but that television was there, and I thought, well, that could serve as a table. I put a tapestry over it, pictures of the kids, some flowers, some little altar type of stuff. Well, one evening, my children were at their father's, and I was feeling, I don't even know what the word was. I can remember pacing a little bit, and it's 11 o'clock. It's getting to be midnight, and all of a sudden I thought, I'm going to unveil this. I'm going to look and see what this thing's about. So I did. I pulled the tapestry up and I plugged it in. I didn't have cable. There weren't any rabbit ears or anything, but I just started kind of messing with it. And Channel 11 in Reading is I don't know if it still is. It was back then you had your own station of the city. And there was Andrea Golden, who is a minister for spiritual centers, Church of Religious Science. And she was talking to me. And there she was in this big box. And she said something, the pivotal part of my life change was, she said, change your thinking, change your life. And I pretty much dropped to that horrible carpet. I thought, this is what I need to hear. And I listened to what she said. And well, after that, it's all history. I started going to the I know it wasn't the Center for Spiritual Living. It was a Church of Religious Science back then, which, by the way, when in-laws found out I was bringing my kids there, that was a cult, and I was a little bit in trouble for that. So I'm really glad when they changed their name, because then I wasn't in a cult anymore. I think people would get it mixed up with Scientology or other type of things like that. So what really sparked my interest, and what Dr. Ernest Holmes knew way back before his time, was that we are the drivers of our life. We get to decide what we're going to do with our life. And that was super exciting for me. This was in the 90s, the decade of the brain, and a lot of funding was going into that. I won't mention the name of our president at that time that funded that, but during that time we were looking at brain development. That's my thing. I love brain development. I love child development, human development. And so all this stuff that I was looking at was research based, and that became super exciting at that time to think, well, it's not just this idea, it's real. Our brains change. They're plastic. They're malleable. Our experience will change our brains, our experience and what we do. So funding went into child development. All these really wonderful child development programs came up at that time, and then there I am, found the perfect job. working with children. And I'm still with that agency now and working with children through child development. Okay, now it's the year 2000, the decade of the mind. That blew me away, another pivotal point in my life, because now the things we can't see, consciousness, being energy, it's real. It's researched. You can change your DNA with your thoughts. And I don't know how that feels to you guys, but that's good to know, because some of my DNA is not so great. I inherited some stuff. I don't have to attach myself to that. And so I was done with school at this time, and I started taking classes, Science of Mind classes, just like Christine Jeffers will be starting here in a couple weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks. These classes, you really delve into what this is about. And I was lit up. This is all I wanted to do. And that's why I'm so excited today, because I want to talk about this all the time. But unlike other type of teachings, we don't just, we don't knock on doors and say, you got to know what's going on with your mind and how you can change your life. I was with some extended family members just recently. We were at a restaurant having a birthday party celebration, and one of them, the manager of the restaurant, came and wanted to know how things were, and we said, oh, this is wonderful, and she handed a little baggie with candies and a little book in it. I thought, oh, what is that? And then I remembered, I think they're called tracts. When you have a strong belief and you want to knock on doors and you hand out little books that say, this is what I believe in, come with me. And she let us know her son is now a missionary and he's doing all this work. We don't do that in this philosophy. Because, this is my idea, I'm thinking, why we don't do that? Because consciousness is energy. We're doing it right now. We don't need to knock on a door. We don't need to put together little books to hand out to people. So, I've used the topic, train our minds to be in unity rather than separation. This is Dr. Ernest Holmes. And what I want to talk about today is, how do we train our minds? How do we train our minds to be in unity? We're looking at this month of being a time that we are honoring all people, honoring all nations. And I don't know about you guys, but it could be tough. It could be really tough to honor all people, all nations. And really, where does it start? We need to honor ourselves. I'm thinking, this brought me to some thinking of, at what time did we decide we were separate from, another thing I really like about Science of Mind is, it's not really God. That's like a placeholder name. It's spirit. It's the divine energy. It's goddesses. It's whatever you want it to be. It is that energy. And so that really worked for me, because I had been raised that there's a separateness, this big God in the sky. He knew everything you were doing and he was watching. That freaked me out. And then I started to think, maybe he's Santa Claus because he does the same thing. He knows, and they kind of look alike, I think. They got that beard thing and the hair. So I always felt someone is watching me, and I'm kind of scared, but it did keep me from doing some things, I think. But that big guy in the sky starts our separation from each other, and not the oneness that Dr. Holmes talks about. So we continue to do that, good and bad. We separate things, we label it, right and wrong. If you want unity in your life, try to not be right. We want to be right. And if we can move away from that separation, making comparisons. Just recently, school started for young children, and that's really exciting. The older kids are starting tomorrow, I think, at the university and the college. But I see these cute little kids, especially kindergarten and first grade, and they're showing up at school, and they've got their T-shirt that says what they're into. It's dinosaurs or whatever. This is me. And they're artists, and they're inventors, and they're so excited. And they get to school, and they're doing their thing, and someone says, well, what is that? Well, it's a dinosaur. No, it's not. That doesn't look like a dinosaur. And all of a sudden, they're not artists anymore. What is that? Oh, it's an invention. I'm going to zap people into space and they're going to do. You can't do that. That doesn't make sense. And so we start at a really young age of separating ourselves. There's 7.5 billion people. That's a lot of people. And I think, it's just going and going. There's so many ways that we can look at who we are, how we guide our life, and what's right for us. Doesn't have to be right for other people. So we're training our minds, and in order to train our minds, I like to look at language. Language is so important. Language is not always verbal. So training our minds to be in unity as opposed to separation, we can use our verbal language, and our thoughts are also words. What are we telling ourselves about ourselves? We're not even saying it. Sometimes we even do say, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. You're a loser. You should not have done that. I have these things that I say to myself. Open up a little bit here. It's an intimate small group, but you look pretty fat in that outfit. Should wear something else. Or I might tell myself, oh, look at your hair is all white. You're old. You're old. That's it. Think about if what we told ourselves, and I believe Michael Singer introduced me to this idea, but what if everything you tell yourself you told your friend or your roommate? They wouldn't be your friend very long. You look so fat in that outfit. Your hair's white. You're really old. Why did you say that? People are going to think you are a jerk, or whatever this self-language is. We all do it. And starting with unity there, and being one with yourself there, and watching, training the way we talk to ourselves is a huge step. And the way we talk to the people around us, the language that we use. Oh, they. What about we? When we say they, couldn't we say we? Aren't we all one? Or I. It's us. And looking at our language in that way. Looking at our strengths. When you're tempted or you have had some negative language to yourself, let's look at our strengths and look at our strengths within ourselves. It gives us the ability to look at strengths within other people. So what is it that you're really good at? That's what we need to be focusing on. This is a practice. And with a musical instrument, with writing, with anything that we do that's creativity, it's practice that makes us better. So practicing talking about our strengths and who we are to ourselves. Yeah, well, I'm pretty good at talking in front of people. I got this. It's not really what I said in the mirror. But when I went there, I was able to do that. What are our strengths? Creativity is spirit. And when you're in your jive and you're doing what it is that you are passionate about, you're creative, you feel spirit. You feel oneness. It's a beautiful place to be. So in training our minds, going to that place. Now, Sheila said it was such a better word than this cliche that I have that I've been hearing, reinvent yourself. What did you say? Recreate. I thought, I got to remember that. Because I've been hearing reinvent yourself a lot, and for quite a while. And, I've been told this is a good time to reinvent yourself now, isn't it? But aren't we always doing that? I haven't always been a mother. I recreated that. I haven't always been a director for an agency of children. That's a recreation, a reinvent. I haven't always been a farmer. I'm a farmer, you can't tell. But when you go in the social hall and you pick some of this food that we brought, you'll see I'm a farmer. I had no idea I was going to be a farmer. I actually thought I wanted to be a farmer. I had this vision, and my wonderful husband and I would sit and talk often about, wouldn't it be nice to get a piece of property and farm? And I pictured the clothesline with the white clothes, the dogs. I'd be probably on the front porch, needlepoint, in a cute outfit, little hat, couple dogs. No, farming, oh my goodness. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't look quite like that. But and I don't know in 5 years, will I still be a farmer? Will I be doing something else? We're constantly reinventing ourselves, and recreating ourselves, and that's exciting. Another pivotal point of my life was finding out that prayer is different than what I'd been told. Remember that big guy in the sky with the beard and the hair? It's a little like Alan, actually. When I'd be like, oh, I need to talk to you. I am so sorry. I will never do that again. Anybody ever pray like that? If you please, just this once, do this for me. I will do other things. I will clean. I will be a certain way. And there was like this pleading in my prayers. I love affirmative prayer. When I learned about it, I just became so excited that it is what you want. Ernest Holmes says, when a problem confronts you, get on your knees and ask Santa Claus. No. When a problem confronts you, take it to the silence of your consciousness. Instead of thinking of the problem, think of the answer. And so affirmative prayer, part of what we do here at the Center of Spiritual Living, is what do we want? And that's what we use our words for. Instead of, oh, please, if you could just help me find the perfect house to live in, the perfect farmhouse to live in, then, I'm sure I would give half of my food away to the Jesus Center or something. Just help me find this perfect place. As opposed to affirmative prayer, the perfect place is there. The perfect place is there for me. I'm ready. I'm here. And then we end our prayers with, and so it is. And that puts it into the law of mind. It is. We live in affirmative ways, and we pray in affirmative ways. So, Centers for Spiritual Living, with what they've been doing recently, being on the board, I attend a Zoom conference with over 100 people all over the nation that are part of our movement. And we've been doing this abundance series every second Wednesday. I think this Wednesday is our last one. I'm going to meet them and really miss it. We were asked to do a little homework. And that homework was, this week, was to find someone every day and give them acknowledgement or gratitude for who they are and what they do. Plus 10. So not just, oh, I really enjoy what you do by, bringing food when you come visit me. Up at 10 times, like, because you are such a good cook, because of, make it bigger. So my first time out there, Thursday morning, I go to Rayleigh's to buy my food, and I usually go through the same line, the same young man. He's lovely. And I thought, oh, that's him. I'm gonna do my acknowledgement. I'm gonna tell him I'm really glad he's here. And I thought, well, I have to be authentic with this. I don't want to just powder puff it for the reason that I'm doing my homework. And the lady in front of me is giving him such a hard time. She's using her ATM, and she wants cash back, but she doesn't want to buy anything. And he's like, you have to buy something. And she's like, oh, I don't want to buy anything. I just want my cash back. So he says, well, maybe you could buy something here that's inexpensive. She goes, I don't want to spend any money. And so he goes, look, I found this chocolate, 2 for $1. It's 50 cents. She goes, okay, I'll do it. So, reluctantly, she gets her chocolate and stuff. She leaves. So I'm up and I'm like, good morning. How are you? I'm good. Thank you. I really want to thank you for being here and helping us with all this, buying our food and ringing it up. And he goes, oh, you're welcome. And I go, I didn't realize, I see you all the time, but you don't just check out our food. You're a social worker. You really helped that lady. And you're also like a psychologist. I could see you using something. He goes, no one's ever said that to me. Thank you so much. No one's ever said that to me. And I could see it in him. And I thought, I've never said it either. This is kind of cool. And even though this series is about abundance, it went right to my heart as to how important our language is, what we tell ourselves, what we tell other people. and how that we can train our minds to be in unity rather than separation. So, I'd like to end this talk with a Chinese proverb that I have in my office, and I look at it every day. Okay, I don't go to work that much. I look at it about 3 times a week, sometimes 2. But I have been looking at it for over probably 25 years, and I still have to read it off the paper. Now, I'm going to try not to. So here's the Chinese proverb that kind of puts everything that we're talking about into a little capsule. Is, if there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. If there's beauty in the person, there is harmony in the house. If there's harmony in the house, there is order in the nation. And if there is order in the nation, there is peace in the earth, in the world. Almost had the whole thing. So I'd like to leave you with the idea of, please remember, we need to remember to honor ourselves so that we can honor others. And once we do that hard work of honoring ourselves, then we're able to honor others. So thank you very much.